Hello, it's Jody and Gabby here in the Create Kids Club kitchen, coming to you live today. Bear with us, this is our first time doing this and we're having a little problems adjusting the camera to the right height. So therefore, I'm going to lean. We're going to give it a second where we have our helper back there. My son Alex is going to see about connecting us so he can help us see if anybody has any comments. So anyways, today we are making, what are we making, Gab?
Egg tacos.
Egg tacos.
Egg burritos, I don't know their name.
And we're making them today to share with you because I've been seeing so many people doing fun cooking activities, and kids have been cooking so much in the kitchen, and that is no different here at our house. Gabby and Alex have been spending a lot of time in the kitchen with us. I'm sure somewhat out of boredom because we've been here for many, many weeks all together. It's been going pretty well, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. For the most part. But what I found is that they have certainly been cooking a lot more than normal. And this recipe right here we are doing because her dad cannot get enough of this recipe, and she makes it nearly every day.
Yes.
1 second. The notifications are not turned off. Anyways, so I'm gonna let Gabby get with you to show you how to make the recipe. And how many ingredients are in this recipe?
Like three ingredients.
3 ingredients that are found in most homes. It's eggs.
Just tortilla shells and cheese.
Cheese. And what kind of cheese do you have here?
We have mozzarella and cheddar mixed together.
She likes to do the combo, so you certainly can do whichever cheese you have on hand. That really doesn't matter at all. She's just using eggs, and today we have maybe those are 6 or 8 inch tortilla shells. Now I found out after I did my pickup I bought the wrong size for her because she prefers a different size.
These are way too small.
And those are too small, but in my opinion, it does not matter at all what size of shells you have, right? Just make more eggs if they're bigger, use less eggs if they're smaller. Adjust for what you have on hand, because that seems to be the biggest problem that we're running across these days is what you have on hand, and that the groceries are harder to come by at the store. Last night for dinner we were making chicken gyros, and as I opened up the package of pitas, I found out that they were all moldy. So that was kind of a big problem when you can't just run to the store as easily as we once did. So luckily my husband manned his mask and did go to the store and got us some, and then stocked up on a few other things as well. But that's typically what we avoid doing. So in these uncertain times, it's nice to have some recipes by common ingredients that you have on hand. So with that, I'm going to let Gabby get started. This recipe is perfect for kids and adults of all ages. I really encourage you to get those little tiny kids in the kitchen right now. This particular recipe, they can crack eggs, they can help you whisk. Obviously we don't want those toddlers at the stovetop, but once you get into the 7, 8, 9, they certainly can be at the stovetop with you helping them make the eggs and doing the recipe pretty much on their own with guidance from an adult. And by the time they get to Gabby's age, she's 11, and she could have done this, I'm sure, last year by herself too. She makes these all on her own. I trust that she knows what she's doing at the stovetop, and she's careful and uses caution and all the safety techniques that maybe we'll walk through as we do this recipe, and they're totally able to do it all on their own. That said, adults can make this recipe too because it's really delicious and it's super easy. So, all right, Gabs, let's see what you got.
Okay, so first you are gonna have to crack 2 eggs. I am using 2 eggs because my tortilla shell is really big, but you can use 1 egg. And then once you have them in a bowl, you're gonna need to whisk them. I am making scrambled eggs.
Do you have to use a whisk, Gabby?
No, you can use a fork, you can use a spoon, but I'm using a whisk because it's a little easier. Once you have those, you're going to need to come.
Oops, I'm going to move the camera. We'll see how this works. Okay, oops. We'll apologize for the movement here. I'll try to get to see our messy kitchen. It's seems like everybody's cooking all day long these days. So it's hard to keep it clean. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to see what you're doing. Where's the pan?
That's good.
Oh, there we go. All right.
So you're gonna need to turn your burner onto medium. And just pour in your eggs.
What temperature do you like to cook your eggs over? Here, you're pretty dark. I'm going to see if I move it over here, if I can see you better.
Try turning on those lights.
It is a dark, rainy day here in Wisconsin. We're lighting a kitchen, but oh, there we go. You got your eggs. I don't have you, but we can watch the pan. Eggs.
A minute or two, I guess.
So how do you know when they're ready to adjust or stir, I guess?
When the edges are getting crispier and they're looking like bubbles.
And what are you seasoning the eggs with?
Pepper and some salt. The edges are getting crispy golden, so I'm going to...
Did you do anything to the pan before you put the eggs in?
I sprayed it with some cooking spray.
That's always a good idea for eggs, even in a non-stick pan, isn't it?
Here on my plate. Thank you.
So you're pretty much making scrambled eggs.
Yes, you just make scrambled eggs.
And how do you know when they're finished cooking?
When you can't see the runniness, I guess. I don't know how to.
So the spots that look kind of wet is how I like to describe it. But eggs also keep cooking about a minute or so after you remove them from the heat, so you don't want to overcook them either. So those look pretty good, Gabby. What do you think?
A little bit longer. Some of these look.
And what kind of tool are you using in the pan?
Just a spatula.
Because in a non-stick pan, do you want to use metal? What would happen if you use a metal turner in a non-stick pan?
You could scratch it.
You would scratch it up, yes.
Okay. These are looking done.
All right.
So I'm just going to put them on our plate, which we have set aside. The next step is
A lost tortilla shell.
getting our tortilla and scrape the pan. Give me a second.
She's cleaning out the pan because she's going to reuse the pan for what, not the most, the best way to clean out a pan, but you know what would work really good, Gabs, if you just wiped it out with that wet cloth.
Okay, so now I put the tortilla on low, and once it's there, I'm going to start putting cheese all around it. Cheese is optional. It's much better with cheese though.
What else could you use if you couldn't have cheese? Do you have any suggestions?
You could put turkey or ham or meat. Any kind of meat would work.
That sounds like a good option. And then you'd put it on the tortilla because it would heat up and get nice and warm.
Yes, like the cheese right here is melting and the tortilla is getting crispy, which I like.
What kind of heat do you have this pan over now?
Low.
Low.
To me. Now you just have to wait a few minutes or seconds.
All right, because what are you watching for now?
The melted cheese, like it looks right here.
Okay. So for those of you joining us, Gabby is making for us egg tacos. And we chose egg tacos to start off our kids cooking series here, hopefully, that I'm hoping to do on Wednesdays, as long as we're home, because this is something she actually makes every single day for her dad, who requests them.
Yes.
It has turned into his favorite food, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How many do you think you've made over the past couple of weeks, Gabby?
20.
Probably 20.
Okay, this looks done.
Okay, so she's thinking that the cheese looks melted and she's ready to move. Oh, I'm not prepared here for filming. Can we move over to the counter?
Well, now you just scoop your eggs into your shell and fold it over, and there's an egg taco.
That's your egg taco. Let's see what it looks like there. Awesome. Here, let's, oops. I am not a videographer for live things. We're gonna move you over here. And maybe you can cut it in half for us, Gabby, and we can see what it looks like. Ooh, let's get a close up. Delicious. So it's pretty much, she scrambled the eggs, melted the cheese in the pan. That is the key step to this, because when you bite into it, the shell is nice and warm. It's sort of crispy from being in the pan. The cheese is melted, and combined with those eggs, it's really delicious. And I loved her suggestion of adding either ham or turkey. Something like that, if you were trying to avoid cheese, would be a really, really good idea. You could also add avocados or saute some peppers.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes would
lettuce.
be really good. You could add all kinds of stuff. Some people like salsa on their eggs. You could do that. So lots of ideas for these egg tacos, and I think somebody has smelled the egg taco because he's been asking for them all day. So if you are like us.
Hello, everybody. I'm taking it. Delicious.
Somebody likes having Gabby home during the day to cook him lunch and egg tacos every single day. So that's all that we have for you guys today. If you have any questions, please post them. I'll get on the computer later to answer them, and we'll also post the recipe below for those who come and watch this later on. But if you have any ideas that you'd like to see us cook in the kitchen next week, we hope to be back if I can con her into joining me again. Maybe we'll figure out the camera a little bit better so it's not so wobbly and moving it all around all over the place. But my options that we were thinking about, and she just mentioned this morning, was dog treats. She's made some awesome homemade dog treats for our beloved golden retriever, Marley. If you follow us over on Instagram, Marley often makes the Instagram stories with his sassy ways. So that's one thing that we could do, is make homemade dog treats. Or there's also a really delicious recipe that I had been trying out for a fun project that's happening, is frozen s'mores. Those were delicious. Oh, or we could do the oatmeal cookie dough bites.
Yes, those
Oatmeal
are
cookie
really
dough
good.
bites are really, really good too. So if you have a preference for what we do next week, add that in the comments below too, and we will be back with whichever one gets the most votes, or whichever one we feel up to doing if nobody has input. So thank you so much for joining us, and get in your kitchen and start cooking with those kids, because they can do it even at young ages. Awesome. Goodbye.